Commander Zethkar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction as his fleet emerged from hyperspace above the blue-green marble that the galactic databases labeled as Terra. The planet hung before them like a ripe fruit, its surface swirled with white. Clouds and vast oceans that sparkled under the light of its yellow star. "Initial scans complete, Commander," reported Navigation Officer Veltine, her four arms dancing across the holographic interface. "No orbital defenses detected, no artificial satellites, no energy signatures beyond basic electromagnetic radiation." Zethkar's thorax rumbled with amusement. Another primitive world, just as the hegemony's long-range surveys had indicated. The inhabitants of this backwater planet had only recently discovered fire, according to their deep space observation posts. Some scattered tribal settlements, perhaps basic agriculture, but nothing that could threaten the might of the Keth-Moran hegemony. "Any signs of industrial development?" he asked, already knowing the answer. "Negative, sir. The planet appears to be in a pre-technological state. We're detecting some localized heat signatures that could indicate primitive settlements, but nothing approaching spaceflight capability." Perfect. The hegemony had been expanding for 3 centuries, bringing order to chaos, civilization to barbarism. This world would make an excellent addition to their growing empire. The abundant water and fertile land masses would serve well as agricultural colonies to feed the ever-growing population of the core worlds. "Signal the fleet," Zethkar commanded. "Begin descent protocols. We'll establish a beachhead on the largest continent and begin pacification operations." The massive hegemony dreadnoughts, each the size of a small city, began their stately descent through the planet's atmosphere. Their shields glowed softly as they displaced air, creating brief auroras in the sky below. Zethkar watched with practiced eyes as his invasion force prepared to claim another world for the greater glory of the hegemony. As they descended through the cloud layer, more details of the planet's surface became visible. The land masses were indeed dotted with what appeared to be settlements, though they seemed strangely geometric for a primitive civilization. Straight lines and right angles were clearly visible in the landscape patterns. "Veltine," Zethkar called, a note of uncertainty creeping into his voice. "Are you certain about those technological readings?" The navigation officer's antennae twitched as she rechecked her instruments. Commander, I'm detecting some anomalous structures. They appear to be artificial, but they're not generating any energy signatures our sensors can recognize." Before Zethkar could respond, his communications officer's urgent trill filled the bridge. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." "Impossible," Zethkar snapped. "You just said they had no technology." "Sir, the signal is primitive but clear. Audio only, transmitted on basic electromagnetic frequencies. They're trying to communicate with us." A chill ran down Zethkar's exoskeleton. In 3 centuries of expansion, the hegemony had never encountered a species that could detect their approach without advanced technology. How could a pre-technological civilization even know they were there? "Put it through," he ordered. Static filled the bridge, followed by a voice speaking in an alien tongue. The universal translator struggled for a moment before finding patterns. "Identify yourselves and state your intentions. This is the United Earth Defense Command speaking to the unknown vessels in our airspace. You are in violation of Earth's sovereign territory. Respond immediately, or we will consider your presence an act of aggression." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of ship systems. Zethkar's mandibles clicked nervously. United Earth Defense Command? That implied a planetary government, military organization, advanced communication networks. but their sensors showed no signs of such technology. "Sir," Veltine whispered, her voice tight with fear, "I'm detecting massive movement on the planet's surface. Thousands of objects are emerging from underground installations across all continents." On the main view screen, Zethkar watched in growing horror as sleek, angular shapes burst from hidden silos dotting the landscape. They rose on pillars of fire, accelerating at impossible speeds toward his fleet. "Evasive maneuvers!" he shouted, but it was already too late. The first wave of missiles struck his outer picket ships with devastating precision. The explosions were unlike anything in hegemony records, not plasma or particle beams, but something far more primitive and infinitely more terrifying. Nuclear fire blossomed in the upper atmosphere as ship after ship vanished in balls of searing. "Light! How is this possible?" Zethkar demanded as his flagship shuddered under the impact of defensive fire. "They have no technology," Veltine's voice cracked as she replied. "Sir, I think we misunderstood what we were looking at. Those primitive settlements, they're cities, massive cities with millions of inhabitants. And those geometric patterns aren't farms. They're some kind of camouflaged military installations." More missiles streaked up from the planet's surface, and now Zethkar could see smaller craft launching as well. Atmospheric fighters that moved with lethal grace, engaging his ships with weapons that seemed to harness the very power of stars. The communication channel crackled to life again, and this time the voice was stern and confident. "Unknown vessels. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked a sovereign world without provocation. We are prepared to defend ourselves with everything we have. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences." Zethkar looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew, expressions of shock, terror, and dawning understanding. They had made a catastrophic miscalculation. This wasn't a primitive world waiting to be conquered. This was something else entirely. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting massive energy buildups across the planet's surface. It appears they're charging some kind of planetary defense grid." Through the view screen, Zethkar watched as the night side of the planet suddenly blazed with light. Not the warm glow of cities, but the harsh glare of weapons preparing to fire. The entire planet had become a fortress, and they had flown directly into its killing field. "All ships," Zethkar transmitted to what remained of his fleet, his voice hollow with defeat. "Emergency retreat. Maximum acceleration. We've awakened something we don't understand." As his remaining ships fled toward the safety of hyperspace, pursued by Earth's relentless guardians, Zethkar realized the terrible truth. The humans hadn't been silent because they were primitive. They had been silent because they were waiting, watching, and preparing. And now the galaxy would learn that when pushed, the children of Earth didn't just fight back. They fought back with fire,